Happy Funding Friday. We're talking in this episode about Endeavor acquiring the UFC, Pipe raising an additional $150 million when they just raised $50 million a couple weeks ago, and talking about Tiger Global's new $6.7 billion venture investment fund.
And we're talking about the newest celebrity culture unicorn. It is Friday, April 2nd. This is the Piper Rundown. We analyze business and culture to help you win.
It's Funding Friday. That means we have 5 stories about rounds of funding all across the business landscape. We're going to go fast. Stick with us. The first, Endeavor, the Ari Emanuel talent agency that has spread out to be a diverse live events media conglomerate of sorts, is attempting to IPO for its second time. Back in 2019, public markets were found to be somewhat cold to the talent agency's business, not achieving anything close to the valuation that they were aiming for, led to a lot of turmoil internally at the agency. A number of agents looking for a liquidity event. They had been promised or issued some form of equity in the firm and were looking to actually see that value realized. They are taking a second bite at the apple, and in conjunction with that attempted IPO are looking to buy the remaining 49.9% of the UFC that they do not already own. A couple years ago, they bought a majority stake from Dana White, the founder of UFC. The rest was eventually sold to KKR and Silver Lake, 2 of the world's largest private equity firms. That acquisition would be contingent on the IPO actually occurring and a concurrent $1.7 billion private placement invested by a number of large financial institutions to help make sure the transaction goes through. If you think about how a business like this gets sold and how it would be understood by public investors tend to like to see a diversity of revenue streams, of income streams for a business, something like the long-standing royalties associated with the talent that Endeavor manages, and the live events multimedia business that is the UFC, one of the only sports leagues out there that you could say is basically traded publicly. I don't know if you'd call WWE a publicly traded sports league, but there aren't many options like that. NFL, NBA, these other firms are all privately held by the collection of owners of those teams. And so a very interesting sales job that'll have to go to market. Some of you may know that Ari Emanuel, the head of Endeavor, is the character that Ari in Entourage was based off of.
Fun.
So you can imagine he's a quite the character, at least what we've heard secondhand.
Are you a UFC guy?
I'll watch it. I'm not someone who's like put off by the violence of it. I'm not, a regular, like every time there's a new event I have to see it. But if it's on, I'll definitely watch it because I don't know, I think it's very compelling and it's very primal to watch 2 humans go to battle. But part of the reasons, as we talk about price makers, price takers, you would imagine that Endeavor is going to some degree have to be a price taker in this instance. They need that private placement. They need that public offering to raise some capital because in 2020, they did $3.5 billion of revenue, but sustained a $625 million loss. This is not some venture-backed company with billions and billions and billions of outside capital raised. This is fundamentally an agency, a business that you usually have to primarily bootstrap in order to get off the ground. So they are looking for that liquidity for their agents that are probably a little disgruntled and are also looking to offset some of the costs from their stake in a company like the UFC, which very much relies on live events, having a tough year in 2020.
Yes.
And Elon Musk is apparently joining the board. So a little bit of hype, a little bit of the Elon. I don't know if you can do like the Salt Bay thing, but if instead of salt it was Elon, sprinkle him on the board.
Nice.
Maybe that'll get the people going.
Well, we know how to get you going. If you keep coming back to these rundowns, we put them out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the like button. It really helps us out. And make sure you have your notifications on.
Do you have a favorite day of the week?
I think Thursdays are my favorite day of the week.
Interesting.
Yeah. Thursdays are slept on. Do you have a favorite day of the week?
I like Wednesdays. Wednesdays, I'm usually in a roll. I'm not like exhausted. Like I'm kind of a little fried by Friday. I usually, actually, that's my word on Friday. It's usually like, I'm fried, I'm sorry. Like I need to get everything done before Friday. Monday, I don't hate Mondays either. I actually kind of like Mondays. Like I'm tuned up, gonna have a good week. Yeah. But Wednesdays, you're usually just humming. You're, you know, got your hand in all sorts of different pots.
Interesting. Yeah.
Comment below what your favorite day of the week is.
Please do.
And let us know what you think of Cameo.
That's a good transition there. Cameo is now, ding ding ding, a unicorn.
Just like unicorn shoots across the...
Their parent company, Baron App Incorporated, has raised $100 million, which gives Cameo a new $1 billion valuation. The pandemic was excellent for Cameo, as well as like so many different apps. Hard to even keep track of them all. But last year in 2020, they saw $100 million of video transactions. If you're unfamiliar with Cameo, it is the website where celebrities basically make a profile and you can hire them to make a fun little happy birthday video. If your mom is a fan of Jeff Probst and a huge Survivor fan, you can hire Jeff Probst to say like, "Welcome to the island, Tiffany, happy 40th," or something. I don't know. Who would you hire on Cameo?
So, I mean, there's plenty of athletes. There's that guy, Kevin from The Office. I don't know. There's the guy who played the like asshole billionaire in Silicon Valley. And I've seen a couple of his, and he really does a good job of like being in character. And that's one of the jokes. Like Cody would make jokes about Cameo, and he would basically say like, some people are literally just there to fucking cut the check.
Oh, 100%.
And like, they're not really going in on it. They're like, they're not in on the joke.
They actually, you get the sense that like whoever's receiving this video is fucking pathetic, like paying for this.
Yeah, exactly. But the people who lean into it are more fun, and I can't think of that guy's name, but he's one of the better ones.
Well,
I don't know. I don't have that celebrity worship thing.
I don't think I do either.
Or the celebrities that I do love would never ever do. Like I love Big Cat.
Exactly.
If Big Cat was on there, I would freaking love having him do something because I know he'd do something funny. But the cost, whatever he would charge, probably would be outside of my budget, and he wouldn't do it anyways. Yeah.
Well, a lot of new people have hopped on Cameo in the last year. 10,000 new athletes, actors, and comedians, etc., have joined Cameo in 2020. You
want to know what one of the most interesting takes I've heard on it was? Is basically what this is actually doing is disrupting A and B list celebrities. So mostly it's C and D list celebrities on the platform. And you know, we went to Vegas and we shot Nathan Lacka interviewing Ashton Kutcher at this event. And they pay a crazy amount of money to those celebrities. I think the celebrities, they were like Ashton Kutcher, Gordon Ramsay, I don't even remember who else. But like those people for a couple hours are getting a 6-figure check.
That's insane.
Which is bananas. And it's like, basically it's like, here, you know, we're basically gonna pay for you to have a 6-figure trip to Vegas.
Right.
It's like the...
Oh my gosh.
The shtick
That's
there.
a little sickening.
All these Cameo people are basically coming in at this like way lower price level, digital first experience. And it's gonna become harder and harder and harder to justify those type of prices for anything but the A of A-list celebrities, the people that bring home the bacon, actually deliver the goods on that value. And I just thought that was a really interesting take. I hadn't thought of that platform that way.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know. Let us know who you would get a video from on Cameo.
Are we going to try to ask for a comment on every single section?
Yeah.
Okay, fuck. I don't know how to do that with pipe. Are you done with yours?
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, the only other interesting thing of note with Cameo is Rob Post is their new chief technology officer. They hired a bunch of new C-suite people, and including a chief people officer, Melanie Steinbeck from McDonald's. So interesting take there. But Rob Post is their CTO, formerly of Quibi.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Raise a big round like that. That's a very, very strong recruiting tool. Not just that you can compensate people, but as an indicator of the platform's capacity and that upside potential for those type of C-suite characters. Speaking of upside, investors are really excited about the upside of Pipe to such a phenomenal degree that you might remember we just talked about them like 2 or 3 weeks ago when they raised a $50 million round. Well, they just raised a $150 million follow-on round. They're not calling it stages, but this is at least a Series A, if not more. $2 billion valuation for their platform that allows the financial contracts associated with B2B software firms to be sold in a marketplace, bring revenue forward for those B2B SaaS firms, get some predictable bond-like type of financial instruments for the institutional investors that are buying said contracts. It is clearly an exceptionally hot space. They clearly, I think they were talking about bringing on tens of millions of dollars of these deals being transacted on the platform in just Q1. So clearly very, very hot. The numbers are enticing to investors. And another dynamic here of venture investing generally is you have all sorts of different venture investors. So some of them are thesis driven, like Union Square Ventures. Union Square Ventures with one of their funds said, this blockchain thing is a big deal. A lot of people haven't realized it yet. It's gonna have all these different applications and impacts that people have not yet appreciated. We're gonna be early. So they just thematically invested in something like blockchain. Then you have other folks that are saying, okay, we're really into B2B SaaS, or we're really into markets over size X with real traction, and they're gonna invest on that thesis. Another not unreasonable thesis is a company like Sequoia is fantastic. They get the best deals. Their track record of being in a deal and it having a 3x or more return on a fund basis is really, really strong. So there's literally been firms that just say, okay, as soon as you get a round from Sequoia, we will immediately follow on that round, give you more capital, add a better valuation, and not dilute you to some degree that you're just completely out. And we're basically just going to be a proxy for Sequoia's returns, because Sequoia can only take on so much money. They could raise more than they actually do because they have their kind of model for how much they want to invest and what returns they would need to garner that type of fund. So they're basically saying, okay, you can't get into Sequoia, get into us, we'll get into Sequoia.
Damn.
So I think that's what happened here. The last time we talked about, Chamath, all these like blue chip B2B SaaS companies, all investing in this platform really speaks to the significance of it. This is just savvy investors being like, okay, if they're all in and this has good numbers, I'm in. I don't particularly care if the valuation went up 70%.
Interesting.
In a week.
Hot take.
Hot take indeed. Put your hottest take in the comments.
Ooh, nice. Our last story for this Funding Friday is Substack.
I have one more after this I added, I forgot to tell you.
Oh, okay. So second to last story for funding.
We're not going to address why we're sitting either. If you're a regular viewer and you're used to us standing, we're not going to answer that question. You can guess in the comments.
Yeah. We're going to just get flooded with comments. Substack has raised $65 million for a $650 million valuation. Andreessen Horowitz has led this round of funding. Substack is a platform that is known for publishing email newsletters and, writings to websites much easier. It's what?
That's a weird explanation.
That was such a weird explanation. I think the sitting is throwing me off.
All the media personalities, New York Times, other major publications, the best talents, not all of them, but the best talents are successfully leaving for Substack, getting big paydays. Matt Iglesias from Vox, Glenn Greenwald from The Intercept, Matt Taibbi from the Rolling Stone, so on and so forth.
Very successful journalists. There are over 500,000 subscribers to one newsletter or another on the Substack platform. Yeah, they're just seeing massive growth. The pandemic was also very helpful for them in the sense that people want well-written, high-quality, interesting content, and they want it now.
And they trust individuals more than the institutions. Trust is,
so.
We're dropping an interview in 2 weeks with Dimitri Kofinas, and he talks about that. He talks about how, you know, we're losing faith in institutions, so people are looking for people that they can trust. And we appreciate you for trusting us.
Leave a comment how much you trust us.
Comment who you trust most in the world.
Tell us your deepest, darkest secret.
No one will read the comments, so just lay it all out there. It's a weird Friday. There's a weird vibe in the room. Our last story is Tiger Global. We talked earlier this week about Archegos Capital and one of the Tiger Cubs, Bill Huang, blowing up. It is very, very easy to not take a nuanced view of Tiger Cubs bad, Tiger Cubs good, and seeing things in a very black and white way. Reality is that they have had an enormous amount of access to capital that has led to some fantastic losses and some fantastic wins. Tiger Global has been one of the winners, and one of the drivers of that winning has been a move down market from public market investing exclusively into more late stage private investment deals. Their success is indicated by past wins with Roblox, Stripe, Oscar Health, which just went public, and an investment in Alibaba before Alibaba went public. Tiger Global has just raised a $6.7 billion venture fund. This was their 13th fund, and they originally were intending to raise about $3.75 billion, almost doubling that on an oversubscribed round. And if you remember, we talked about Coinbase, and Coinbase returning something like $15 billion for Andreessen Horowitz. Their entire assets under management across multiple funds was about $16 or $17 billion. So that gives you a sense of the scale here. This is those really, really Goliath late stage venture investment firms, Andreessen, Sequoia, SoftBank. That is the arena where Tiger Global is playing. And they are writing a boatload of checks, almost on a daily cadence. New check written into a new company. Their basic bet is we're trying to get into all these digital firms with any sense of traction, with any sense of scale, because we're in a market where it seems like everything goes up, and we want to be a part of that going up. Wild times.
Wild times. Fundings
galore. Do you think that sitting will help us make this shot or no?
Definitely not. Definitely not. You have a very narrow window of success there.
Oh, low, very low.
Well, that's the rundown.